Today, let's make these amazingly delicious spinach and artichoke dip stuffed chicken pinwheels. The chicken dish so good your family will flock to the table to try it. And the best part is we can make a bunch of these ahead and freeze them for whenever we want. So let's go ahead and get started here with our spinach. I'll be using 12 ounces of frozen spinach today, along with one 14-ounce can of artichoke hearts. And we want to lay these out on a towel, and you'll see why in just a moment. There's actually quite a lot of residual water left in these. And we want to get out as much of that as we can, because if we don't, it's going to make our dip kind of soggy and wet, and that's definitely not a good thing. And when I say a lot, I mean it. Just look at all that. We absolutely don't want that in our final dish, so I'm going to go ahead and transfer that into my food processor. You can totally hand chop it if you prefer. And to that, I'm going to add 3 large cloves of garlic. And we just want to get that all chopped together one way or the other. And normally this is where I would tell you a food processor pun, but in the end, it was just all spin. Sorry, that one could have been a little better. I guess I kind of artichoked. Now let's just dump our chopped spinach, artichokes, and garlic into a large bowl. And now we're just going to dump in the rest of our ingredients. 1/4 of a cup of mayonnaise, 1/4 of a cup of sour cream, 8 ounces of room temperature cream cheese. Trust me, if it's too cold, you won't be able to mix it. Now we want to add about 1/2 cup, that is 4 ounces each, of grated Parmesan cheese and mozzarella cheese. And normally this would be seasoned enough with that Parmesan, but because this is going inside of chicken, I'm going to add an extra teaspoon of salt and cracked black pepper to taste. Now we just want to get this all mixed together. I suggest starting with kind of a smearing motion until things start to kind of stick together a little bit. But just keep going, and before you'll know it, you'll have this beautiful, ready-to-serve spinach artichoke dip. But we're not finished quite yet, so let's set that aside and prepare our chicken breasts. And to flatten these out, I'm going to show you a technique I just learned recently called feathering. We want to start where those two muscles come together and just go straight down with the knife and push out to the side. You see how it kind of unrolls like that? It's a really cool technique. And once we get finished with the one side, just repeat the same process on the other side. It takes a little practice to get good at it, and I'm far from an expert, but I think you get the idea here what we're trying to do. Keep your blade facing down and just kind of seesaw out to the side. You see all those little ridge marks. That's why it's called feathering. Now our chicken breast is a lot thinner than it was, but we want it to be even thinner still. So let's go ahead and cover this with a piece of plastic wrap, and we're just going to pound that out with a meat hammer. Careful not to hit too hard though. This is already quite thin because of all that feathering, so we just want to kind of tap, tap, tap until it flattens out as much as we want. I like to aim for about 1/4 of an inch or so, but this is your dinner, so make it as thin or as thick as you would like. And if we wind up with some small holes or tears, don't worry, that's not going to be a problem for us at all. So once we're happy with that, just get it flipped over and keep it on the plastic wrap. We're going to need that again in just a second. And we want to take just a moment to sort of arrange our chicken, get it as flat and as long as we can. Now let's just grab a good handful of that spinach artichoke dip we just prepared and spread it along the middle of our chicken. If you want more of a swirl in your spiral, then go ahead and spread it out in a layer all across the chicken breast. But I went with kind of the log in the middle approach here. Now for the fun part, we just want to use the edges of the plastic to roll this whole thing up like a big cigar. You can see how useful that plastic is. It lets us kind of pull it across and keep all of that spinach artichoke dip right in the middle where we want it. Now we can just give it a little spin, get that plastic wrap wrapped around, and we can also kind of try and squeeze out any little bits of air that might be in there. I like squeezing the ends too to give us a nice even shape, just like this. And you could go ahead and slice and cook these now, but I highly recommend freezing them first. Not only will it make cutting it a lot easier, but it will make our final product a lot prettier. That said, you do want to take this out about 30 minutes before you slice. I like to leave the ends slightly larger because they're a special case, but the rest of these slices we're aiming for about 1/2 inch. In general, 1 chicken breast should be enough servings for 2 adults. And here's why we froze these. There would be no way to get a cut like that with them thawed. So onto a baking sheet we go, and we're just going to broil these on high for 20 to 25 minutes. That's right, no need to thaw these. They go straight into the oven frozen. How convenient is that? If your oven doesn't have a broiler, just bake them as hot as you can get it. Here's what they look like after 20 minutes under my broiler, but we do want to give them at least 10 minutes to cool. But once they are, these are awesome to eat on their own or with your favorite side dishes. They are keto, low carb, and absolutely packed with nutrition. And of course, let's not forget crazy delicious. I really hope you've enjoyed today's episode of Passion for Food. If you have, don't forget to give me a thumbs up below, subscribe, and hit that little bell so you don't miss our future videos. And if you like your chicken with a little more color on them, here's what they look like after 25 minutes. This is my personal favorite. Until next time, this has been Graham with A Passion for Food.